Hey guys, Multimedia 7 here to do a dream catcher message. Now, this particular dream I had was on June 18th, 2024 after 7 a.m. in the morning. Now, before I get into the dream I had this morning, I want to talk about a particular dream I had a few weeks ago. It became prevalent in a sense. Only because in the previous Sagittarius reading I just did, in reference to the OG hashtag, when I typed OG in, an emoji popped up, which was prevalent to what I seen in the dream. Maybe there's some significance there. Now, in the first dream I had a few weeks ago, and before I get into the dream that was prevalent to the emoji of OGs was the Dreamcatcher message about the record store, if anyone recalls. Now, in the first dream, I saw a Gemini male placement in some sort of event, in some sort of, I don't know, a party room, but it didn't look as if it was a party per se. Now, one person in this room, the Gemini placement in particular, was sitting on the left side of the room, facing his body in the left direction, if you're following. Parallel to this man in a chair sitting seeming happy was what seemed bigly built bodyguards dressed in black. I could not see their faces, but I could see the Gemini placement man looking very well pleased, happy, and content, but back still turned to what was going on the right. Now, on the right side of this room, although Gemini placement back turned, was a elderly man, which I'm going to use as a Aquarius or Libra placement, because the person seeing this dream was of a government authoritative figure in rank. And this man is very old. No disrespect, but I know the person who was trying to be described in this dream as somebody who's very old, established, was a governor. But in this dream, as he faced forward towards me on the right side in the dream, from my point of view, was a sinister smile. The man grinned so evilly, almost. Just like in the other Dreamcatcher messages where I see a Capricorn placement doing the same thing. And out of nowhere, as the man sat in his seat, the Gemini placement back turned, the man out of nowhere was giving the most erotic dance. Out of the sky, split in the middle, an Aquarius placement jumps onto his lap and just begins to do a provocative dance on him. I do not know why that dream was prevalent. That was all the dream showed. But let's get into the second dream in which I seen today. Now, in the dream I seen very briefly and quickly, such as the first one this morning, there was, I guess, a mother and child. And they were waiting at a bus stop. The bus stop was fairly packed, a lot of people waiting, maybe more than usual, maybe a morning group was waiting for the bus. The most peculiar thing happened. There was a black man, a man of black descent, African American, was smoking a cigarette in front of them. Not too far behind, but far enough for the smoke not to bother, of course. But the black man, so carelessly, after smoking the cigarette, flicked the cigarette, harmlessly, probably thinking out in the open. But unfortunately, in the dream, the cigarette burned another man's neck. Now, this other man was of albino complexion, showing me that he was not necessarily Caucasian, that he was in fact in some way, shape, or form some variation of African American, but lighter in complexion, as in the albino reference. He was standing on the left side, with the woman, her child, and a man who had a cigarette was standing on the right. The albino man stood holding on to his lady. How could I see her face? So he was holding on to the lady, and once he was just standing there, minding his own business, unfortunately, accidentally, a cigarette burned the albino man's neck from the flick. Now, instead of, rationalizing, as human beings sometimes do not do, the albino man, in fury, made a beeline for the African American man, pursuing a fight. A fight which quickly escalated because before the albino man could make only a few short steps towards the African American man, the African American man then brandished a weapon. I want to make it clear that this albino man was given the reference of a Gemini. At the bus stop near a Chinese store, Hong Kong relatives, and what I have come to find is some variation of witchcraft being done towards his neck, which is of the throat, which is of speaking in terms of chakra points. So somebody didn't want somebody to say something, perhaps, and it made somebody upset and they wanted to fight back about it. But before the person could either say or do anything to retaliate against the unforeseen circumstance, this African American man pulled out a gun. Shocking. Pulled out a gun, and everybody began to scatter and run. The woman and her child hid behind some sort of electrical vent because there was so much madness going on. They didn't know where to go, where the person had run off to. They didn't even know where the albino man was, or if he was even still with the woman that he, I guess, dated or courted at the time. And what happened was they kind of just hid in plain sight. Holding on to the child, the woman does, as a scary moment happened. The African American man who held the gun actually came parallel to the electrical vent in which the woman and the child was ducking behind. And he pulled out the gun because he needed to load it. It's not made known whether the man seen them or did not, but what was made known, the intention was not for the mother and child. Once seeing that the man was loading the gun and turned around the opposite direction, the woman and child ran into which looked like, ironically, My parental father figured better. And once that happened, the child grew up. Now, the only thing I will say is, in regards to the witchcraft possibly being done on somebody's neck, not to speak, fire sign, relevancy, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. I just want to notice, I want to make note of that witchcraft and West Coast have the same abbreviation. That's the message. Be blessed.